Good morning, Anatomy fans. Here we are. We're going to rock the body today. Today we are going to work on some super awesome things. I'm really excited about it. I'm actually going to say goodbye to Moby right now because much as I love hanging out with Moby, it's really distracting because it's so much fun to listen to. Good morning. Good to see you, Jen. Yay. All right. So I'm Lissa Mahalik. This is my lovely assistant, Napoleon Boney Parts, and we are somaticanatomy.com. And as we are hanging out here, today is day one of our awesome pain-free posture challenge. This is going to be super cool. Over the next few days, we're going to look at Kelly. Hey, good to see you, girl. Over the next 2 days, all right, I love seeing you guys. I love saying hi to you, and I'm actually really worried that I'm going to like completely lose my train of thought. So I love you guys. And if I don't say hi to you, don't take it personally, right? Okay. Don't take it personally because I want to hang out and make sure that we get the right information here. Because I'm so excited. I'm like, I just gotta say, I'm so excited that we're finally getting going on this that I'm a little like, woo, all over my nervous system here. So, all right, I'm gonna find my sits bones, find my balance. The best thing to do with any of this is start looking at bony landmarks. And we are all about bony landmarks here today. We're going to look at 3 major centers of gravity. We're going to look at the bony landmarks that you can use as cues, because bony landmarks are fabulous cues, my friends. And at the end of this, you're going to have some great cues for each of the 3 major centers of gravities: the head, the rib cage, shoulder area, and the pelvis. These are so, so important. Now, I've seen in the Anatomy Party Facebook group, a lot of you guys have back pain and shoulder pain. And that's kind of awesome. Much as I'm, weird as that sounds to say that, that's kind of awesome because we're getting started right off with the head. We're going to take it from the top, so to speak. And as we're doing that, that's actually going to help a whole lot, especially with the shoulder pain. Anybody got the upper traps going on? Just throw me a little emoji in there and let me know, because this is such a popular space for pain. Oh my gosh, I used to have tremendous amounts of pain here. It was no fun at all. But it's all about the reorganization. Okay, so at the end of today, you're going to end up knowing a lot more about the head, about how to contact the head as a center of gravity, how to manipulate the head as a center of gravity. Yes, my friends, we're going to learn how to manipulate people's heads in this class today. You're going to end up with cues that are going to help you work on yourself and work on other people. Because a lot of what I do is I teach instructors. I teach instructors to, there we go, I had to get my backup going there. I teach instructors how to teach other people better. So if your instructor has been taught by me, then that's probably why they're so good. All right, so this is going to help you work on yourself. It's going to help you work on other people. It's going to help you organize your body from the head down, and the head is so important. Sometimes this is something you're going to be looking at as a human being with a body. Whether or not you're an instructor, that is super cool, but as a human being with a body, the first and most important thing is you are going to be feeling it here. And I would like, if it's at all possible, and you're in a space you can do this, I would like you to follow along in your own anatomy book. Now, before you start rummaging in your shelves for like, oh my gosh, my Moore and Daly, where is my netter? Does anybody see that old copy of Gray's? Oh my God. You have your anatomy book with you at all times. It's not cheating to use your actual body to check in with yourself and check in, hey, wait, what's moving there? When I do this, what moves? Oh, that moves. Okay. It's not cheating. It's being smart. And y'all are smart. All right. So getting into that, we will be talking about all kinds of technical stuff as we do this, because I am such a technical girl. And hey, good to see you guys. Yeah. I am such a technical girl. And the base principles are And I know some of y'all are Alexander teachers, some of y'all are personal trainers, some of y'all are Pilates and yoga and dance teachers, and y'all know this. And for those of you guys who aren't, welcome. We love you too. We've got all kinds of people doing all kinds of really interesting things in here. You got a body? This is good. The most important thing, your head is balanced over your rib cage. Your rib cage is balanced over your pelvis. And if you're standing, your pelvis is balanced over your feet. Now, you're like, yeah, Lessa, that's super easy. I know how to do that. That's really easy. But we're going to get into the details. We're going to get into exactly how to cue that. We're going to get into how you connect with these various centers of gravity so that you can organize the head over the ribs, over the pelvis, over the feet, and it will be super awesome, and it's going to hurt a lot less. Now, here's the thing. So I believe it was about 2013. I thought, hey, we're going to take a trip to Asia with the 3-year-old. And he's big enough, he doesn't need the stroller anymore. So we left the stroller at home and got on a plane for 18 hours. You know, I'm a foreign service kid. I do this. Sleeping upright, whatever. Well, let me tell you, after the 18-hour flight back and carrying around a jet-lagged toddler all around Hong Kong and Singapore, along with my complete inability to keep my body aligned when I was busy focusing on jet-lagged toddler in Hong Kong and Singapore. It's a long story. To put it mildly, we got back. I was in so much pain. I was literally like hanging on to the railings trying to get down the stairs because, oh my God, stepping on one foot long enough to get from one step to the next was agonizing. It was ridiculous. I'm so glad that's not me anymore. And it took me like 4 years to get over that. At the end of 4 years, I started training Kung Fu. Now, I will say I don't train Kung Fu as often as perhaps I could right now. But I will say that the most effective things I learned, I did physical therapy, I did acupuncture, I did chiropractic stuff, I did all kinds of things. The most effective stuff was just realigning, because this is what's going to get you organized day to day. Every single day, this is what's going to help you get out of pain. So your challenge, whether or not you choose to accept it, but if you do, this is what's bloody well going to get you out of the pain, is to practice these principles each day. And the reason I'm spacing this out rather than like, dudes, here it is, boom, here it all is at once, is that you need to go out and practice this. Your challenge is to practice these principles as you get out there and go about your day. If you like, you can go to that comments thread where people are up there, they're giving the thumbs up, they're saying hi. I love you guys, you're so cool. And if you want, you can go over there and you can post what you notice. You can start, when I pay attention to my head position, I notice, I don't know, you tell me. So now that I've yammered out my nervousness, I'm here, I'm present, I am balanced. My head is over my rib cage is over my pelvis. My pelvis is not over my feet because I'm sitting on my butt. And when you are sitting down, your pelvis then becomes your base of support instead of your feet. We'll get to that on pelvis day. So the head. Now I know some of y'all, like I said, are Alexander teachers. And so Alexander teachers, chiropractors, people get totally obsessed with the head, because where the head goes, the spine goes. And what do we think when we think about back pain, posture, and body organization? Well, we think spine, because the spine is, well, it's the spine of the body. It's the major bony support when we're talking about body organization. So where the head goes, the spine goes. And this is why chiropractors, Alexander teachers, posture specialists, all us nerds are so darn obsessed with organizing your head. Specifically, your first cervical vertebra, the very top of your spine. We'll get to that in just a sec. The other reason it's so important is all the developmental movement specialists out there. And I know there's a bunch of you on here because I see you sneakily hiding, lurking, not commenting, and I love you anyway. The head-tail connection is a different way to organize the entire spine. We'll get into that a little bit, but like I said, in this challenge, we're going strictly for the practicalities. Put your head here, it hurts less. Awesome. Next. See, wasn't that easy? So the other thing is, again, it's super key, right? It's super key to just have this have your head organized well. If you spend a lot of time, as I do, staring into a computer screen, staring into a camera saying, hi, it's great to see you, it's really easy to get your head out of whack. We don't want to do that. When your head gets out of whack, we have the infamous forward head syndrome. If y'all are getting the emails, and if you aren't, you should be, go to somaticanatomy.com/welcome, and there is a little button there that says pain-free posture challenge, because you will get images that I cannot share here in Facebook because Mark Zuckerberg. Long story. Anyhow, so there is an image in your email today that shows how a person has, when you're sitting here looking at your phone, if your head is balanced, your head weighs about 10 to 12 pounds. When it starts moving just 15 degrees forward, suddenly you have a 27-pound head. 30 degrees, 40 pounds. By the time you get to like a 45-degree angle, almost 50 pounds, or a 60-degree angle, I see people on the New York City subway looking like that all the darn time. So by the time you get to a 60-degree angle, you have a 60-pound head. That's a lot to balance at the top of your entire body. Boom, if this thing weighed 60 pounds, that would suck. That'd be really hard to support. My muscles would be working really incredibly hard, and some of them would be stretched out really long and complaining a lot. And you know what? I'd have a buttload of pain, or rather I'd have a backload of pain if I'm going to be exact about it. So, forward head. Now it looks a lot of times like it's long, but then you look forward because, I can't see where I'm going when my head's down like this. So I'm going to go like this. And you've got a shortened back of the neck. Now this is important right here, the base of the neck right here. This is super important. I want you guys all to do this along with me. Bring your fingers to the base of your skull, right here where your skull starts to curve under, right here. So right where your skull meets your spine back here. And I want you to close your eyes without turning your head. I want you to point your eyes to look at one elbow and then the other elbow. Just looking back and forth without turning your head. You can have your eyes open if you like. Do you notice the motion? Do you notice the motion that's going on in the base of your skull? Your eyes are very, very closely connected to the suboccipital muscles, sub underneath, occiput. That's what this part of the skull is called. So the muscles underneath the occiput, the suboccipital muscles. Your eyes, the motion of your eyes is very closely related to those muscles. Now this is important because one, if those muscles are cranked, it's gonna hurt. The other thing is, if those muscles are, some of those muscles actually attach to your spinal meninges. And for all the nerds in the house, we're just gonna go on this little tangent for a second. The meninges are essentially the sacs that are around your brain that hold in the cerebrospinal fluid that supports and nourishes and cushions your brain. So some of those muscles are literally attached to the dura mater. When this gets tight back here, you are literally pulling on the sac around your brain and pulling your central nervous system out of whack. Pulling your central nervous system out of whack. It's a thing that happens. It's a thing that happens actually quite commonly. Am I impressing upon you guys how important head position is yet? So important. Excuse me, just for a minute. I just need to ground and center here. Yes, so important, you guys. The other reason those muscles are super important is they have a ton of stretch receptors. They have a lot of proprioceptors. These muscles help your body know where it is in space. There's a lot of space receptors around your joints. This is a real big one. So when these muscles are out of whack, when they're too long, too short, too crunched, etc., when they're super grouchy, then what's going to happen is the information coming from those muscles is wrong. So your body has wrong information coming in, and it doesn't know where it is in space. Or worse, it thinks it knows where it is in space, and it's wrong because the information is wrong. Garbage in, garbage out. And then it's really hard to organize your body. So you end up with headaches, you end up with sleep problems, you end up with neck pain, you end up with jaw pain, you end up with a lot of mid-back pain. Anybody got that? So, like I said, I get passionate about this because, again, I am hanging out on the New York City subways, watching people reading their phones literally like that. I wish I were exaggerating. I am not. All y'all New Yorkers know what I'm talking about, right? Right? So, what we are going to do today is we are going to find some of the most effective methods that I've found to reorganize your head, your neck, and therefore your entire spine. And it's going to be awesome. So we're going to start out taking a look. Well, we're going to start out with Boney because, hey, who doesn't love a super fashionable skeleton in his Burning Man goggles? Excuse me, sugar. All right, so pardon me while I use my super high-tech camera work here to raise the camera. There we go. And now, here we go. So here is an excellent view of Boney and the back of the neck. I can wear this for a sec. So here is what the base of the skull looks like naked. Here's the occiput. It's a big bony bump. And you'll notice that here from the side, you'll notice there's a lot more space here than there is here. Did I mention there's a lot of muscles under there? So there's a ton of muscles under here that go in between the vertebrae and attach to your spinal meninges, attach that bag around your central nervous system that keeps your body, functioning, your central nervous system, your brain, your spinal cord. It's a problem when something goes wrong with that. So keep your head organized and don't mess with it. Other bony landmarks. Right here, so here is the ear hole. Right here is Boney's ear hole. And right behind the ear hole is this kind of downward pointing triangle. You can find that. Here's my ear, and right behind my ear. Follow along in your very own anatomy book with your own ear and your own mastoid process, because that's what it's called. Right behind the ear, this upside down triangle bump, that's called the mastoid process. That's the same Latin root as, mastectomy, as breast. So this is the breast that is behind your ear. Seriously, drunken anatomists, I tell you. So the mastoid process from here, this is a really easy way it's an easy place to find, and it's an easy place to organize your head from. So if you move it back, if you kind of move it back and up, for those of you nerds in the house, one of my clients says, oh, like Vulcan ears. Make yourself some Vulcan ears. Bring this back and up. Vulcan ears, elf ears if you're more of a Tolkien fan. How's that feeling? So already, especially if you're standing, I can just feel something released in my low back because I just reorganized my head. And now instead of my head being here, my head is here. Here we go. Here's the back. Because I took my brain, I brought it back from here to here, where it is balanced. So, mastoid process. If you go down just a little bit more, and now here's where we get into the really super powerful place to control the spine. All the Alexander teachers are getting really excited now. All the chiropractors in the audience are like, yes, I know where she's going. So right here from the mastoid process, we go straight down, and you will feel kind of like a little bump on each side. You might feel kind of sensitive, a little grouchy, maybe doesn't like being touched. You might not feel anything. That's cool too. But keep kind of poking around in there, and you'll find kind of like a hard bump on each side. That would be the transverse processes, right here and right here. Transverse process is Latin for thing that sticks out at the side. No joke. The sticky outy things on the side, the transverse processes of C1. This is the top of your spine right here. So pause, find C1, and if you turn it from side to side, feel how easily your head turns without any effort at all. From here, I control my entire spine. Like I said, all the chiropractors and Alexander technicians in the crowd are super excited right now. So if you just take C1 and you move it back and up, it's smaller and more subtle, and very effective. Yes? I feel like my voice has just dropped like half an octave just by rebalancing my head that way. Because when your head is correctly balanced on your skull, all the tubes in your neck, the spinal column, the jugular vein, the carotid artery, all those tubes that you breathe, swallow, and talk through, suddenly they're properly open. They're not pinched, they're not crushed, they're not anything. So everyone who's an actor in the group or works with actors or performers, this is a good one too. C1 goes back. Here you go. So bring C1 back, bring your mastoid process back. Third, from here, so you see the nice little diagonal lines here we've got from the mastoid process down here to the clavicles or to the sternum. This little, making a little V shape in the neck. So this is the muscle known as the sternocleidomastoid. Sternum, clavicle, mastoid. It gets named after its 3 insertions, which is cool. This muscle, watch what happens to it when I bring my head forward. From here to here. See how my fingers come together? So this muscle is held chronically short in people with a forward head. When you bring it back, sometimes it stays short, and people have a really hard time staying where they are because, thank you, buddy, I can give you your hat back now. Because this muscle is so short, it doesn't quite know where to go. So what we do is, Boney is helpfully pointing out his collarbones. We find our collarbones. Find the collarbone. So here is collarbone and sternum right here. And I can go all the way out until I find my shoulder, acromion process. So if you take your collarbones and you imagine them relaxing wide, just relax them out wide. Notice the change in your breath. I just noticed the change in mine. And you can also relax them down and away from your mastoid process. Now, if for some reason those cues aren't enough, then we can just do a straight up sternocleidomastoid stretch. This is going to be the single best stretch to reorganize your head, bring your head back, reorganize all these upper back muscles, because look at this. These are the muscles. When my head goes forward, come back, these muscles get really long. It's the long muscles that moan and bitch. It's not the short muscles. So if I'm like this, all these muscles, those really painful ones right here, start complaining. So if I can do my elf ears, or I can bring C1 back, or I can release my collarbones widen down, then you can see how suddenly these muscles are like, oh, okay, gotcha, we're good. And now they can stop complaining, and I can stop being in pain. So, before I review, I'm going to go over sternocleidomastoid stretch. Now, anytime you know origins and insertions of a muscle, and this is why I'm such an anatomy nerd, because if you know where everything is, you know how to handle it. So if you know where a muscle starts and ends, or starts and ends, however you want to put it, if you know where it attaches, then you can stretch it or strengthen it. You know how to lengthen it and shorten it. All stretching is lengthening a muscle. All strengthening is shortening a muscle. So I'm going to find my mastoid process, the breast behind my ear. I'm going to go down. I'm going to find my clavicle and my sternum right here. I'm going to move these two parts away from each other. Sometimes I find taking the point of my jaw, reaching up to the ceiling is a nice cue there. And just hold it for a little while. Try to throw everything else out of whack. Bring it back. Right, so now I'm standing like this because one side of my neck is much longer than the other. I do hope you're following along in your anatomy books, because now we're going to switch sides, because otherwise we're only going around like this all day, and that would suck. So I'm going to find my other mastoid process. I'm going to find my other sternum clavicle area. I'm going to take the point of my jaw on the other side. Sometimes rotating it is nice. There's a couple angles you could get on this muscle. Play with it, see what feels good. I'm just turning myself around so you can see this stretch from all angles. And now, I'm gonna bring it back. You can see my head is even now, my neck is evenly stretched, and I don't even have to think about keeping my head balanced over my rib cage. So, reviewing. Mastoid process goes up and back. Your L ears, your Vulcan ears. First cervical vertebra, C1, goes back, kind of rolls a little bit as it does that. Balancing the head. There we go. Balancing the head over the spine. One way to do that, so if we found C1, I just like to point out this is the top of your spine. If I bring this around to the front, it's like I got a spine mustache here. This is where my spine actually starts. So I'm looking at the side. Like, yes, there's this big blump of head back here. There's also this big blump of face. That's a technical term. So I like to think about the lower half of the face balancing the base of the skull. In fact, I'm going to say, go back to C1. See if you can hold C1 steady and just rock the skull back and forth on the top of your spine. That is a great way to help people figure out how to balance the head on top of the spine. So, head on spine, find C1, rock back and forth. Bring the head back into balance. You can take the mastoid process, sweep it up and back with your Vulcan ears. You can let your collarbones release down away from the back of the ears to reorganize the head, or you can just stretch out the sternocleidomastoid, which makes it a lot easier to rebalance your head where it is. All right, so some people, part of the reason I'm going through all these anatomical things, one, because I am an anatomist and because it's super fun. Two, a lot of people have found relief just by finding these points. Because when you find these points, you understand how the body's put together better and how it works. And when you understand how the body's put together, how it's supposed to work, you can get yourself into the right position so it stops hurting. All right, so I'm going to check out what's going on in the comments feed here. If you guys are feeling a difference just from bringing your head back, let me know. Throw me an emoji, give me a thumbs up, let me know what's going on. Let's see what's going on over here. Checking in. All right, yeah, you guys, so I see Peg's feeling the muscles moving. Isn't that cool? Kelly also. Excuse me while I hydrate. Awesome, yes. So, again, there's a lot to work with here. There's a lot, you know, we get a little deep and a little bit technical. But again, remember, the head balances over the rib cage. How we balance the head over the rib cage? Well, we're going to bring the mastoid process, the breast behind the ear, back and up. Or we're going to bring the top of the spine, C1, back into position. Or we're going to let the collarbones release away from the back of the ear, let the back of the ear release away from the collarbones. And if we need to, we can always support it with the sternocleidomastoid stretch. Now, when I do this, I want to emphasize I'm not hanging on my head. I'm actually not putting any weight on my head at all. That's kind of an important thing that might not have been clear, because a lot of people just go, bah. What I'm doing is I am literally just finding this so that I can know which end of the muscle is going where. So stretch your sternocleidomastoid, release the collarbones away from the backs of the ears away from the collarbones. Mastoid process up and back. C1 goes back. And the reason I'm emphasizing C1 so much is that that is your fulcrum. If your brain is actually your head, like this area right up here, the head and neck, this is pretty much the only proper like seesaw-like lever, the type 1 lever in the entire body. So if you can balance that forward and back, you can say, yeah, I know where my head is. All right. So you see, oh yes, yes, yes. Kelly, you're getting a release up in your skull. Carmen, you got lower back release, right? I got a lower back release too, even when I just did this. And I do this a lot. So once again, I want to emphasize, when we go, physical therapy chin tucks, the short answer is it depends on how you do them. It totally depends on how you do them, why you're doing them, and what's going on with the entire body. I'm going to say, for the most part, what you're going to learn balancing the head, the ribs, and the pelvis has been more useful to me than any number of chin tucks in getting my head into the right place. Just saying. So keep watching. Try this out. Like during the day when you are wandering around, you're like, oh man, my shoulder hurts. Wait, C1 goes back. Because here's the thing. Like I can say, hey, bring C1 back. And you can do it like, oh, hey, it doesn't hurt anymore. And then you're going to go get on the subway and read your book or start scrolling through Instagram. And you're going to do this. Oh, hey, no, I'm fine. Like, hi, how are you? And you're going to go back into your habits. And you're going to be like, damn it, it didn't work. I moved C1 back once and now my back still hurts. Well, that sucked. That didn't work at all. So every time during the day, everything I'm teaching you here, these are tools. These are tools that need reinforcement and repetition. The more often you do this, the more often you remind yourself, okay, C1 goes back, this comes down. C1 goes back, collarbones go down. C1 goes back, collarbones go down. Oh wait, C1 goes back, collarbones go down. You're going to get that release in your lower back every damn time. You're going to get that release of pain in your upper shoulders. Your upper back is going to release itself, and it's going to be awesome. Okay? This is making good habits. How long has it taken you to get into the bad habits? Well, I'm betting you that if you stick with these habits, we can get you into the good habits in about 3 days. Now, like I said, this is dense. This is general. This is really, really, really general. If you have something specific you want to work with me about, I can totally do that. We can set up a call. Ping me. We'll talk about that. We're on Facebook. You can just message me. That's a thing. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow very early, 8 a.m. right here, because my entire day tomorrow is booked so solid. It's a little embarrassing, actually. So I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow. I expect you guys to go and practice that and come back and let me know. So feel free to post down here in the chat or over here, or sorry, over here if that's how you're looking at it. Post in the chat. When I pay attention to my head position, I notice, and let us know, because I want to know. I'm curious. Because when I pay attention to my head position, I notice that when I pull it back, my mid back stops hurting. And I really like that little lower back release. That felt really good. There's a little like snap of something going back where it should be. All right, y'all. Enjoy your anatomy. I will see you tomorrow, super early. It will be awesome. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Okay. All right. Cool, Kelly. I'm glad that worked for you. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Go forth, practice. Let me know what happens. Those who practice make the pain go away. Just saying.